What's good, everyone? This is Jin. This is a follow-up to Nolar's already posted AGL transforming Super Saiyan Goku showcase with max level links. The counterpart of course is the TEQ transforming Frieza. Now there's a lot of speculation, or I guess I should say wish list, of having these guys receive an EZA during the 350 million download celebration. Now it's, obviously we don't know anything about it, but it kind of serves a good opportunity to test out these units. So this is Nolar's footage. We kind of talked about it a few days back on some of the team builds, and just had the recording sent over, and I am layering in the commentary. So with that being said, we'll break down the unit details here in a second, but I think similar to the Goku unit, in terms of like overall team building, it becomes problematic with these units because they do have 5 different stages of transformation states, and of course the link sets do change incrementally with each transformation, so that can make team building a little bit difficult. I think it's more so on the Goku unit versus Frieza. I think Frieza, for the most part, it's pretty much consistent links with the Wicked Bloodline units or Frieza family, whatever the right term you want to use for it is. But with that being said, let's just go ahead and talk about the overall stats. So of course this guy is a leader skill of the extreme type, key plus 3 HP, attack and defense increase of 120. So of course with the EZA this guy could potentially get an upgrade, or he will get an upgrade. I just don't know how much. Maybe like 130% or something like that. Now the super attack will raise attack and defense and cause immense damage to enemy. For the passive skill, it's an attack and defense increase of 80%, recovers 11% HP at the start of the turn, and then also transforms from the 3rd turn from the start of battle. Now in terms of like the base first form Frieza link set, it looks like strongest clan in space. That is going to be, I don't know, this thing always has like issues refreshing sometimes. Give me a second. So strongest clan in space is all enemies defense minus 10%, and key plus 2. Universe's most malevolent will be attack increase 20%. Metamorphosis recovers 5% HP and attack and defense increase of 10%. Thirst for Conquest is attack and defense increase of 15%. Big bad bosses, of course you all know, attack and defense increase of 25%. Fear and Faith will be all enemies defense minus 10% and key plus 2, and then Fierce Battle will be attack increase of 20%. And in terms of categories, I can't even count how many there are. There are literally so many of them. Resurrected Warriors, Movie Bosses, Full Power, Transformation Boost, Wicked Bloodline, Dragon Ball Seekers, Terrifying Conquerors, Target Goku Revenge, Inhuman D's Gifted Warriors, Planetary Destruction, and Attained Evolution. In terms of like the current state, stats-wise, it's HP is 16,015, attack is 17,270, and defense is 10,080. Looks like for the 12 key multiplier is 150%. And then if we move on to the second form, looks like for the passive skill, attack increase of 90% and defense increase of 60%, recovers 12% HP at the start of the turn, and then of course will transform into the 3rd form in the next following turn. And then for the 3rd form, for the passive skill, you've got attack increase of 100% and defense increase of 40%. Meanwhile, 13% HP recovery. And in terms of like the link set changes, I think Shocking Speed is in replacement of Fear and Faith. So Shocking Speed will give you key plus 2 and defense increase of 5% at level 10. Moving on to the final form state, this one is attack increase of 110% and defense increase of 20%, recovers 14% HP at the start of the turn. This is part of the passive skill set. I didn't cover the super attack because they're pretty much the same, with the ability to raise attack and defense and cause immense damage to the enemy. The only time it changes will be the final state. For this guy, it'll be the Golden Frieza form. I think for the final form though, the Prodigy's link skills added on, so attack increase of 15% at level 10, I think, which is in replacement of Metamorphosis. Alright, and then moving on to the last state, which is again the Golden Frieza form. Super attack will cause immense damage with a great chance to stun the enemy, and then for the passive skill, it's an attack increase of 120%, recovers 15% HP at the start of the turn, and then key plus 12 and performs a critical hit one time only. In terms of the link sets, I don't see any changes in comparison to the final form, so that should be pretty much the deal with that. Now, I'm kind of reviewing the footage while talking and you know, just checking out Nolar's content here, or recording here, and you know, I don't necessarily, you know, kind of know what the defensive stats or, you know, how active the links are. I don't know if he showed it throughout the video or not, since I was just literally on the Dokkan Wiki page. I guess he did, so yeah, I mean, like the problem, you know, I kind of played around with the Goku version the other day, and I think, you know, ultimately the problem is like you have to have two separate rotations in mind, and then you have to be able to really kind of switch it out, right? Especially when, for example, Goku going into Super Saiyan God or Super Saiyan Blue form, you know, your prior units that you had on the rotation aren't necessarily going to link well, you know, in those states, and I think it's probably a little bit more manageable in Frieza because of, again, you know, the types of units that you can link this guy up with. They typically, you know, share a fair amount of links, like, you know, Strongest Planet in Space, or Universe's Most Malevolent, or Thirst for Conquest, and Big Bad Bosses, you know, so it's pretty consistent. But Goku's a little bit different, where you do see a lot of like changes with the link sets from, you know, the beginning in comparison to like the final stage. So that's a little bit problematic. I think, you know, the other point I would like to make out in terms of like, you know, potential EZAs is, at least for Frieza, based on what I'm seeing right here, you know, certainly would appreciate a little bit better increases toward defense. It's kind of funny because the defense actually drops by 20% with each transformation, and then the final state, you don't even really get a defensive boost. So obviously, you know, it's more, I guess, an offensive approach in terms of, you know, how these units are meant to be used. But in today's, you know, state of Dokkan battle, this guy could certainly struggle a little bit on defense. Again, you know, this is kind of like I'm watching the recording with you guys almost in a way, but yeah, I mean, I'll have to take a look at this rotation right here and see. Well, I guess it doesn't really. It's not a good one because, you know, this is type advantage, and this is kind of nice right here though. We're talking about the team builds and, you know, making sure to include the transforming Angel Golden Frieza here, and of course I'm guessing, I'd have to double check, but pretty much all across the board I would imagine the link sets are being active for the most part. Well, it looks like just, you know, everything outside of like the two links, and you know, that's certainly really good in terms of like a link partner, and of course, you know, the cooler unit can provide you know, a nice little boost from the passive to what was it? If you're facing only one enemy, it's basically the transformation boost category units, and then if it's multiple, it'll apply that to the Conquest of Terror units. So yeah, I mean, overall, it seems like team building certainly a little bit easier from Frieza's perspective versus Goku. So, you know, it'll be I don't know. I really do wonder like how they're gonna build the passives. I can see it being a little bit of a pain in the ass because, again, there's like 5 different states of the unit for each. You know, Goku and Frieza. So I don't know. It's kind of interesting how. They did kind of like increase attack but offset it by decreasing defense. You know, it's kind of an interesting way to go about it. But, you know, this unit came out back in August 31st of 2018. So it's certainly been a few years, and, you know, how Dokkan was back then is a little bit different than how things are now. So it might have made sense from a logical standpoint, you know, a few years back, but in comparison to, you know, how the events are and you know, the gradual rise in difficulty, it's a little bit of a headache, I guess, is probably the best way to put it. But I don't know, what are your guys' thoughts in terms of like what they should roll out in terms of like the EZA upgrades, you know, like from a super attack or passive standpoint? How would they, I wouldn't say how would they, but how would you like to see it ideally, you know, in terms of like an upgrade? I'm curious what your thoughts are. So yeah, I mean, overall, I think based on what I've seen, this unit's performing not too terribly. Of course, you know, you can sense a little outdated nature of it in comparison to some of the other units, but that's just, you know, more of an opportunity to, you know, become more relevant with the EZA. So that's pretty much the way I look at it. But The one thing that is interesting about the unit, right, is you have like the one-time criteria for this, where at least for Frieza you get the key plus 12 and performs a critical hit. So again, you lose out on the defense and you get this massive key support as well as a guaranteed crit chance. So it's almost like when they were developing the card, it's meant to be like the last resort attack option type deal, right? You want to go full offensive, get as much damage as you can with that unit, and then kind of pray that you don't get hit with heavy attacks, incoming from the enemy type deal. So, I'm certainly a fan of Gambit type cards, like, the Kaioken Blue Goku and the Strength type LRUI Goku as well, where, if either the dodges don't kick in or you're not, ready for the enemy's attack, you're definitely going to be penalized quite a bit. But I kind of enjoy those type of units where you do have to take risks, and it makes it a little fun, to be honest with you. I mean, obviously the more stable the units are on a team, the better it is for an overall run. But having those types of risky units definitely makes it a lot more interesting from a run perspective. So that's probably my takeaway with that. But again, comment away what you guys think the EZAs. First of all, do you think it'll happen during the celebration? And if so, what kind of stats upgrades would you like to see? All right, with that being said, we'll go ahead and close out here. Hopefully you enjoyed the showcase. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace out.